Hey everybody. So yeah, we're working on these form controls for the fog. We have a scene, and if you convert it over to this exp exponential, and you type in a, it knows that that's not a. It gives you invalid floating point error. Make it, it goes away. So that's good. That's been quite the adventure. The through this sort of path, we figured out that um, that validation is got to be a lot more complicated. Unfortunately, so that we can sort of decouple the forms, um, form control specific concepts and from the general validation because the form is probably hopefully not going to be the only way to add um, add things um, to our UI to the view. Um, so now we have this concept and we have a service and all that, and that's not too bad. But I know it's not a good long term solution. So I think it would be better if um, this be so I think the in the long term what we want to be able to do is go to the validation service and say, hey, what are the validations for this for fog density, and have logic around generically creating the fog density control in such a way that um, it checks with the validation service to determine what validators are necessary. And the only reason for that is because at some point I'm going to want to be able to import um, the data from like a file. And when I do that, I want to be able to use the same validation. I don't want to have to like have duplicate code that I'm trying to maintain because in all likelihood, like if we ever do manage to get this code out of the POC mode and into the MVP mode, there's probably literally going to be thousands of fields with various validations, and trying to maintain that code in two different places is going to be not not possible, and basically a poison pill to the whole application. And it'd be like, okay, we need to start from scratch again because it's untenable. Because we'll likely, if we go down that path in this, we'll likely go down that path on other things. Next thing you know, we'll have 50 different things that we're trying to maintain in 50 different places, and it'll be impossible to even get a grasp of what's going on. So now we're adding like what would seem like unnecessary complexity because I want to add this form density control programmatically now. And the reason I want to add it programmatically is because I want to get this validation information programmatically. So um, the best place to do that, I think really honestly, the only place to do that would be in the constructor. So in the constructor, I want to get my validators from uh, the validation service. So I'm just going to create a const validators equals, and I'm just going to call it the fog density validators. Density validators from, and that's going to be an array, and I guess I'll push it to their fog density validators dot push. So it would be nice if I got all of the validators um, instead of, because I would imagine there'll be some that where I get multiple validators. But for now, let's just set this up to here, and hopefully a good way to do that will sort of present, or a reasonable way to do that will present as we go down this path. So now we have our validators, so that's good. And so I would like to add this whole fog density later in the process. So basically, I guess I want to create a form control. So const fog density form control is equal to, and then basically new form control. We'll just copy this down here and put that right there. And then instead of passing in this, instead of getting it, since we already have it, we'll just change that to fog density validators. And I think that makes sense. And then I was kind of experimenting with this a little earlier, and I tried to add to the form. It seemed like, honestly, you can't really memorize everything, or I can't. So I said this dot form. This is what I thought would work. Add control, and then give it my control. Oh wait, before I do that, actually, let's go ahead and see if we can strongly type this just to make this. I'm going to do my little trick. This is okay, so that is not helpful. So I think in order to use my trick, I'm going to have to move this. Okay, I'm going to comment out this code. Got to take the long way around. Let's see. So we're going to say I shouldn't have done that. Okay, so this is what we want. Unfortunately, I have it commented up. So let's uncomment this. Okay. Okay, I don't even know what I did there. Okay, so I want this piece of code right here from here to here. Oh, I'm going too far. You've gone too far. We can never come back. Control copy. And then let's just go like this. And then let's go like, now I don't know what, why would, oh, okay, yeah, it's upset because, okay. Now, hopefully my little trick works. String, and then hopefully it tells me what it's like. You can't do that. Okay, so basically it's an array of this fairly complex thing. Now it is interesting that it's complaining about not knowing what it, I think it's complaining. Cannot find abstract control. That is so weird that it didn't have a problem with that here. Okay, I'm just going to leave this as is because this is not what I actually, well, that is what I actually want. Okay. So it's saying that, did it remove it? I wonder when I copied it out. That is weird. Okay. All right, I'm just going to see what happens here. This is when it would be nice to have done a little bit more aggressive git commits so I could just see what changes. All right, so now it's happy. I don't know what it wasn't happy about before. So now I want to do this, and I want to get rid of this. I don't really know why I want to do it this way. I just think, I'm going to need to be more like this when everything works. Okay, so now I have my form density. So, okay, so let's just take a step back. So basically all I did was declare a array of these validators, validator programs. Are functions. A validator function is a function that Angular Forms uses, Reactive Forms uses in order to be able to create words and stuff, and how to. It basically it's just a set of functions that tells the Angular Forms how to validate things. It's pretty complicated and very abstract and confusing. And then basically I'm just going to push my one validator that I'm getting. But what I'd like to do is get it to where I say, hey, give me all the validators for the fog density, and I get an array, and I just assign it. But for now, this is kind of an iterative step in that direction. Then I'm creating a fog density form control, and now I'd like to add it to there. And Reactive Forms has this add control thing, so you would think I could just say, and let's just mouse over, see if we get any clues. I would think all I have to do is add a control. But it's saying that I have to add a control and then a name string control. To add a control in a strongly based control must be so. See, I would think, and that didn't help me. And maybe a lot of those messages make total sense once you understand it, but they don't make a lick of sense until you understand it. And it's actually can be quite educational. Um, um, Doing that, it can be quite educational once you understand it, going back and reading it. So it wants 2 or 3 arguments, and it looks like the first argument is, oh, it's a whole form group. Yeah, I don't know. That's weird. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and comment this code out here that adds it. No, I did not want to comment that piece. I guess I'll just leave that dangling. I think now. So let's just take a stab in the dark and hope. Okay, yeah, so sometimes it's a little easier to read. The argument for control was not provided. So let's just take a stab in the dark and say, let's just go to ChatGPT and see if it can solve this mystery for us. And send. All right. The name of the control and the controller. So how are you supposed to? Oh, okay. So let's see. Does that make sense? I think that makes total sense. Oh yeah. See, because I have the name there. So I want to name my control fog density. I guess that's just a string. Oh, comma. Let's see. All right. So let's try that. That is so interesting. And it is crazy that it did figure out that the name of the control is fog density. I mean, that is, you got to admit, that's pretty crazy because it just basically derived it from the fact that I called this the fog density validators and this is a fog density form control. And it's just like, dude, oh, it even gave me the actual fix, like the actual correct fix. Dude, I actually feel a little vulnerable. It's like, damn, it's like, that's crazy. That's really neat. Okay, so let's see if this works. Um, yeah, that'll give me something to think about for the rest of the day. Hey, yep, and that still works. So let's go ahead and just remove this code here. It was like, hey, dude, you wanted to name that fog density, and here's the code that does exactly what you wanted to do, and you didn't even know you wanted to do it. Um, that's really neat. Um, so anyway, so now I have my fog density validators. I pushed the validators to that. Um, so what I would really rather have is something where I say, hey, for fog density in the validators, what's my list of controls, and it sends me um, that. So I would rather that not at the this level, but down at this level. So we're gonna have to do some more complex merging of ideas or of concepts. So I am definitely more and more understanding why these sort of validation schemes that all these Angular architects come up with are just always so out of control. Anyways, let's see, what's the time? 16 minutes. That's not bad. Um, I definitely will continue from here tomorrow. Thank you and have happy coding. Bye.